my God, hello?
Helicopter.
What is?
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
Yes,
Aw,
sir.
dang it!
People that's watching this video, can I show y'all how much I really like MVC right now? Just let me cook. Let me cook.
French is the language of love. Oh, say it again, Dexter.
Capcom presents.
Shout out to Not Very Good and the Go Infernasu for putting me on with this 100%. And shout out to Capcom for letting me be in a part of it as well. This is early access to Marvel vs. Capcom collection, and it's gonna be lit because I got so much to talk about within what I can talk about. This version, this release of the game. If you are familiar with the Capcom Fighting Collection, this is gonna be lit for you. During this press embargo release and review, I had the chance to play up to 3 embargo release games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes, X-Men Children of the Atom. I actually didn't really play it. We was having too much fun on Marvel 2, to be honest with you. And for the first time ever, X-Men vs. Street Fighter. I actually haven't ever played that game, but I've always heard about it in passing. And I got some stuff to say about that game, because Lord, that game is fire. But we here to talk about that Marvel 2, baby. That Age of New Heroes right quick. Now mind you, I'm very rusty at this game, but don't worry, I will be back like I never left. For a lot of people that didn't know, and I've noticed this when I was at EVO, people did not know which version of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 would be in the games. If you go to their website, they tell you which version of the game is listed right above the name of the game or the corresponding game logo. If you're really curious on what version it is, I got you. It is the Japanese ROM version 000224 and a USA version 000224. So if you were very skeptical or very suspicious on the version of the game, if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the best versions of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in terms of ROM emulation that this is on. One thing I learned about my experience with the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection is that it took me to a very nostalgic time where like people would come over and play games, but I was doing it on Twitch with Infernasu and it was hilarious. Now, if you didn't grow up in the arcade era, this could be very, take some time to get used to, but it really took like 1 or 2 games and it just clicked instantly. Butterfly, don't walk into that. Button.
No! Why do you get so much range?
So it emulates the arcade-like setting where when you lose, you gotta hit start. Put that 25-cent accordion, baby. The game feels as good as fluid as I remember from growing up. Mind you, I've played the Dreamcast version, the PS2 version, and the PS3, Xbox 360 port versions of Marvel vs. Capcom all in my lifetime. So I would indeed say Capcom cooked the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection 100% so far. I want to talk about that training mode. This part makes me so excited because so many more people are going to get their hands on this game finally. The training mode in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is outstandingly peak. I'm not going to go too crazy into details, but I'm going to let this clip play out when I explain it to the chat.
Look at this.
Yeah.
This is peak. This is real, guys. This is actually real. There's an online.
Right.
There's an online.
We all hate lag, right?
Oh.
They be having a dumpster connection.
Thank
Well, you can practice with network delay. All right. So, for example, Vera, I want you to move.
Oh my God. Help me. This is like all the Wi-Fi carriers I play, bro.
I love that Capcom does this with their collections simply because if you want to try to play these games with older communities, like want to go back in Discords and play older fighting games, it's hard for you to get into it, especially when a lot of modern fighting games have better training modes and functions compared to ones of the back in the past. Implementing better training modes in your fighting games helps newer players be able to kind of catch up in speed faster and learn things faster instead of having to go through what the older player base had to go through back in the day. Having a hitbox viewer is also beautiful because it lets the players know what you're getting hit by in these classic games with classic Capcom hitboxes and things of that nature. Sometimes when I practice combos, I like to practice combos on just the basic, perfect no delay or anything, but the average 3 to 4 frames, because at that point, you got to be able to hit the combos of somebody lagging. Now I got to talk about X-Men versus Street Fighter. Can we talk about that right quick? This is my first time ever playing this game, and I'm sorry, I don't know why I missed this growing up, but I've seen this game at tournaments and conventions, but sometimes I just never ever talked about it. And I'm not gonna lie, this game's pretty sick. I think visually, this game, in my honest opinion, even back then, this might be the hot take of the video. The X-Men vs. Street Fighter kind of looks better to me than Marvel vs. Capcom 2, right? And I think what adds to this game is that I really like how the HUD looks, how the characters are. It got some of my favorite characters on both sides of just like Marvel has the X-Men cast. Rogue is extremely too fun to play. Playing Cammy in that game is crazy. I just love that game across the board, y'all. Oh, for people that are like, yo, flashes, epilepsy, all that stuff in old fighting games, when you get hit, flashes happen a lot. You can legitimately turn that down or even off in the game as well. Even if you can't do it right now, the community will probably do it in a mod or terms for you. But I strongly believe you can turn off the flashes or heavy hitter flex in the game. That will help out a lot if you're just not used to flashes or don't want to deal with that 24/7. Overall, getting the chance to play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 early was a dream come true. This was one of my very first video games of all time. If not with Marvel 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Superheroes, and a lot more. Another quick thing I want to bring up is that with this collection, the display filters, the size and screen, you can change that completely. If you don't want those filters or bars on, you can play the game in full screen if you want to. I'm being a boomer right now, but I also will always respect the 4:3 ratio with these games. It just adds this like charm novelty to the era of when they released, so that's why I just like playing on it. But sometimes if you want to just put it in full screen to see how it look, that's perfectly fine too, especially if you're streaming. This type of stuff is really cool, especially if you hosting tournaments and stuff like that. You can organize it and get creative with the filters and things of that nature. Once again, I want to shout out to Infernatsu and Not Very Good for letting me stream with them and showcase Marvel vs. Capcom 2 to their communities as well. And thank you, Capcom, for giving me this opportunity to talk about the MVC collection up in early access preview and things of that nature. Stay tuned for Bo Marvel, baby, because we might do some tournaments or some type of event for newcomers for the game on this channel and on my Twitch at Avataryaya on fuck. You know where to find me on Twitch, man. With that being said, thank you once again. You guys are golden, and that is raw. And that ain't done. We got so much more content to make, but I'm out. Peace. Squalor.
Who's next?
Let's see who's stronger.